Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs. I'm Simon from Games Deconstructed, and you're watching 5-Minute Genres. This week, I would like to talk to you about one of my personal favorites, at least when it comes to literature, and that would be urban fantasy. 5 minutes on the timer, and let's go. What is urban fantasy? It's a genre of fantasy taking place in relatively modern times, commonly understood to be between the end of the 19th century up to the 21st. It places elements that are, resemble, or reference traditional fantasy, like wizards, elves, or magic swords, against familiar contemporary life, like fast food restaurants, health insurance, and taxis. Why is it called urban fantasy? Because it uses the bustling cityscapes of modern day as a backdrop for its fantastic magical or mythical elements. What are examples of urban fantasy? You've got books like the Dresden Files, showcasing really excellent world building and some equally grating descriptions of female characters. Ben Aronovich's River of London series, if you'd like to go in a more young adult direction. Also the ever so excellent American Gods. TV series and movies like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Magicians, which occasionally veers more into the realm of traditional fantasy, leaning into its Narnian influences, or Supernatural. Tabletop RPG titles like most of the World of Darkness series, with Vampire, Mage and Hunter being probably the most in line, City of Mist, or even Shadowrun, which mixes urban fantasy with a healthy helping of cyberpunk. And video games like The Secret World, the Persona series to an extent, and The Wolf Among Us, based on the excellent Fables comic, which you should read if you get the chance. How does urban fantasy marry urban with fantasy? A popular plot element present in these stories is the Masquerade. Thanks to magical or governmental interference or just people's tendencies to rationalize what they see, the existence of the supernatural is unknown to the public. The supernatural entities in the story might uphold the Masquerade out of fear of humanity, painting humans as the actual bad guys. Alternatively, a powerful entity like a governmental Men in Black sort of organization might remove evidence of any fantasy elements. Even alternatively, dark forces of the vampire, werewolf, ghost, demon variety may be happy with keeping their prey ignorant. Irrespectively of the reason, the Masquerade serves several practical occasions. Firstly, it grounds the magic in a more realistic world. These stories often take place in, say, the US or the UK rather than Narnia or Midgard, so an acknowledgement of the fact that something is different from the viewer's lived experiences might be good for upholding suspension of disbelief. Secondly, on a more meta level, it saves the writer the hassle of theorizing what large-scale social changes would result out of commonplace use of magic, in, say, a late-stage capitalist society. Thirdly, trying to break or uphold the Masquerade is often a source of plot development. There are multiple reasons in favor of both. It may serve both as a complication. The hero will be viewed as unreliable or crazy if they go to the police babbling about ghosts or demons, and motivation, in case the breaking or upholding of it is expected to have catastrophic effects. Who's an urban fantasy hero? There are two main archetypes that I find both popular and interesting and would like to outline in the short time that the 5-minute format allows me. The first is the lawman/private eye. Harry Dresden, Peter Grant, Bigby Wolf, they all follow that archetype pretty closely. Allowing your hero to work in a detective capacity gives them both motivation and opportunity to explore the realm of the supernatural and try to uncover the Masquerade that I've mentioned before. It's also worth noting that this popularity is influenced by a preceding literary tradition of occult detective stories, going back as far as the mid-19th century. Being able to both borrow and tap into this trend, as well as tropes and themes from noir and hard-boiled detective fiction, allows for presenting an easily digestible main character with characteristics that are familiar to the reader. The second is the hunter/protector. Buffy Summers, the Winchester brothers, your player character if you play Hunter the Vigil, are all characters within this vein. In stories focusing on the conflict between the mundane and the supernatural, or where the fantastic elements are portrayed as negative or dangerous, these characters work to make sure that the general population is protected from them. They are often imbued with some sort of external power that allows them to go toe-to-toe with the opposition, or just crazy well prepared with gadgets and the like. They tend to work well as an audience insert, as being a relatively normal guy or gal faced with confronting a dangerous unknown tends to make them sympathetic. And that would be it. Thanks a lot for joining me on this 5-minute ride through urban fantasy. Like I mentioned, it's one of my favorite genres, at least when it comes to literature, and that mixture of traditional fantasy and urban modern stuff is just... chef's kiss. Feel free to click all the YouTube clickables if you enjoyed the video, and big shout out to VGMaster9, who actually suggested this genre along with many others. Thanks a lot for watching, have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.